everyone, and welcome back to my channel called zuzanareacts, where I learn all things parad with your help, and I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. And in today's video, we're going to look into luxury secret supply chain India. I think we're going to look into manufacturing, and it looks like that the maybe luxury brands have been all manufacturing in India. And I'm very curious to see what we're going to find out in this video that's on the subject. I know manufacturing is the worst industry that there is in the world. It is the worst pollutant. So I'm actually very curious what we will all learn about it today. But before we do,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
Okay, let's go.
There's not a single luxury house that does not produce in India.
Wow.
We've recently had Beyonce in her tours wearing a few of our outfits.
High quality, exclusive, and European. The hallmarks of the 180 billion euro luxury fashion industry. But unknown to many consumers is a closely guarded secret. Countries like India are often at the heart of what's considered European luxury fashion. For decades, luxury fashion houses obscured their business ties to developing nations like India or Vietnam, where labor is cheap and hard to find handicraft skills plentiful.
Even if you produce in Europe, at the end, the manufacturing, the reality of that business is done in India.
Fashion executives have long seen labels saying made in France or made in Italy as key to higher profits. They worry about Western consumer stereotypes that question quality. There's also the optics of sourcing goods from places where working conditions can be poor. But that's increasingly contested by those fighting for transparency in how luxury fashion credits its suppliers. We set out to investigate what's behind a fashion label. India's contribution to luxury fashion spans empires. The nation's embroiderers were traditionally mostly Muslim men who had migrated to Mumbai from rural parts of the country. They're known by the Urdu word karigar, or artisan.
Embroidery has always been the distinction between the elite, the royal court, and the different layers of society. Even if the creation is done in Paris, even if we have ateliers in Paris doing embroidery, or in Italy or in England, India has really become the backbone of the embroidery industry.
From the 1980s, luxury brands have relied on India for much of their embroidery.
Wow.
Today, there are two kinds of textile facilities. First, export houses in safe, well-ventilated facilities. Second, subcontractors in small factories.
Wow. Okay, so first thing that literally comes to my mind is like, what are poor working conditions?
We're sitting in a small factory in central Mumbai that has completed subcontracted orders for some of the most established international designers. When order volumes are large, Indian embroidery export houses take orders to subcontractors throughout the city. Sometimes they work with as many as a dozen subcontractors for a single order. This is the bottom of the supply chain, and the working conditions are often the worst. Sometimes artisans, to save on rent, sleep on the factory floor after they've completed their work for the day.
Wow.
India is now one of the world's largest garment exporters, with the textiles and apparel market worth more than $150 billion in 2021. But the country's connection to Western luxury brands remained secret for years.
We've forgotten the past, we've forgotten the excellence of craft. The big question, in fact, is to know why these luxury brands are so hesitant in putting Made India on these products, when they should be, by law, putting it Made in India.
London! Look at the walkie-talkie.
The global fashion system is built on exploitation. It's not coincidence, but by design, that most of fashion today is produced in regions where freedom of association is restricted, where it's difficult for workers to exert their rights. So when it comes to obscuring supply chains, there's a myth that being transparent is commercially sensitive, that it would harm business to be transparent and disclose who and where your clothes are made. Improved transparency is absolutely essential to protecting the people who make our clothes, who are often some of the most vulnerable people in global supply chains.
Our investigation looked at one jacket as a case study.
Okay.
The garment, embellished entirely with delicate micro mirrors, retails for almost 43,000 euros.
Okay.
And according to exporters in Mumbai, it took more than 2,000 hours to embroider in India. Seamstresses estimated the piece then underwent less than 100 hours of stitching and finishing touches in Europe. It carries a Made in France tag, reflecting European Union regulations that define the country of origin as the place where the last substantial transformation took place, not where the bulk of labor was completed. A Dior spokesperson told Bloomberg that even though the mirror coat is an exceptional piece that showcases India's savoir-faire, nevertheless, it was made in France, which justifies the dedicated Made in label. Still, in March 2023, Dior became one of the first international luxury brands to showcase a collection in India, saying it's determined to promote the country's artisanal legacy worldwide. Chanakya International, the Indian export house that embroidered clothing for the Dior Mumbai collection, declined to comment.
What we are very happy about and elated about is that actually Dior took a first step to announce its supplier. We were all kept hidden for a long time. It has changed the way the others are thinking, putting us more forward for recognition of our work and our embroidery and our craftsmanship, which earlier they wanted to show maybe that it was done in Paris or Italy. Now they are happy and to say that this embroidery is done in India.
India's growing importance across industries has made the world's most populous nation impossible to ignore.
I mean, when you're thinking about the way you have your saris and the dresses, it's always so, yeah, it's very, what's the word, elaborate? Like, it's just like there's always like a too much of everything that's happening, right? Like, it's, I don't want to call it a complex fabric, but I can't find the right word. So it makes a whole lot of sense. And, obviously also from your history, that you would be very, very good historically in the craftsmanship and stuff like that. I mean, I don't quite understand why that. I do, actually, because of perhaps the image of India, and because if you would be pumping into the world the right advertising about how your clothing is, craftsmanship and all that kind of stuff, you would see a completely different image of India when it comes to fashion industry. But let's continue.
One recipient of this attention is Gayatri Khanna. Her company Malaya Embroideries has climbed atop the ranks in Mumbai's highest profile export houses. She counts Versace, Balmain, and Dolce & Gabbana as just some of her clients.
Today, we are a 450 employee business. We are in the center, in the heart of Mumbai. We have over 150 odd clients, which are amazing, and we cherish all our collaborations.
When you talk about Made in India, you tend to celebrate craft, which is coming from India. At the same time, you're also celebrating the people who are making it. I think it is also all about how to dream together.
For many in the industry, the Made in India garment tag is paving the way for a younger, progressive wing of creatives who want more fairness and transparency in how luxury fashion credits its suppliers.
So today I feel that things are slightly changing, slowly changing, because they cannot lie anymore. They have to acknowledge that since the last 30 years, they've been manufacturing in the country, manufacturing in India.
Wow, what an actually enlightening video for me. I mean, yeah, as I said, if you're not advertising what you guys are doing, no one has any anywhere to know that information from. So to me, that kind of has been really eye-opening. But in a way, as I explained earlier, to me it all does actually make sense given your history and given your clothing, especially the women's clothing that I've seen. It's spectacular. Now, it's interesting because obviously, like, all these brands are making money and exploiting people, so it's not very cool to shout. But I guess, I don't know, if you become big as a big organization, you always are forced to do like cost efficiencies and, you know, like all these big brands. And this is what people in the West don't like. They actually really see into that and shout, but they're kind of, I don't feel like these voices in the West are being heard in a way. Like you would have some, you know, stars that come and fly and talk about it, and then the topic disappears. And I think it's also like what the media facilitates, and what's in their best interest or not, and what's in the best interest of their funders, right, or not. So yeah, it's a fascinating thing. And, you know, why would India not be able to, you know, stand and say, no, this is us. We know what we're doing. We have history of, like, you know, we've been the biggest cotton exporter. We had, like, craftsmanship was a thing of the past. Like, why wouldn't that be, you know, also who we are, what we contribute to, our heritage? And it's nothing sort of impressive. I keep thinking about the pretty dresses that I've seen today, but yeah, wow. I mean, at the same time, for me, the fashion industry is definitely the biggest polluter. So I prefer simplicity when it comes to clothing, etc. But yeah, yeah, brilliant. Go India, go, I guess. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please give a thumbs up, share a like, and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending much love. Bye-bye.